What's up, everybody? Welcome to Avus Autosport in Glendale, California. Zach and I are working with GetEnteredToWin.com to give away this BMW 135i, but not before we spend some time, money, and elbow grease turning it into the ultimate $30,000 Canyon car. Now, if you want to support the channel by buying a little bit of merch, there's no purchase necessary, but we certainly appreciate it. Head over to the video description and click that link to get over to the Get Entered to Win website, veteran-owned company that we've partnered with to run this giveaway. We are giving away the car in the middle of November, just in time for the holidays. So make sure you check that out, see how you can get entered to win, and maybe one of you can take home a tastefully modded BMW 135i. Now, in our first video, we drove the car in its stock form in the canyons. Now, in our second video, it's time to address and modify. So, we're here at Avus Autosport. We've got a bunch of parts from our favorite partners to work with, really high quality aftermarket stuff to both improve the performance and the durability of the 135i. The shipment has arrived. Let's see what we've got. All right, now let's talk about the parts that are going into our car. With the help of some of our partners, we have assembled a fine collection of parts and supplies to tastefully upgrade our BMW 135. Now let's start with the big ticket items. These ST coilovers. These are really high quality items from Germany. Gold means they're good. We all know this. That's just a rule. So these are going to help us with body control. They're adjustable, so we'll be able to set the ride height and really work with our new HRE wheels and tires once these are on. Plus, the shocks on the car are original. They're probably a little tired, so replacements are good. Our pals at Optima have sent over a yellow top battery. Although the 135i does start fine, that initial crank feels a little lazy to me. So a few extra cold cranking amps from an Optima yellow top certainly couldn't hurt. To go with the coilovers, we've got some COBB front and rear sway bars. Very exciting. Help with that mid-corner stability, reduce some body roll. Also, they look great in blue, not gonna lie. We've got a green air filter, environmentally friendly, reusable, flows really well. You can clean it out. These are really high quality. I run them in my own cars, and they make a great air filter. Good balance between flow, durability, ease of use. Love it. CSF intercooler. This will give us a cooler charge for the turbo, which should help with a little extra power and more durability for hot canyon days, hot track days, or even in traffic. There's nothing about a turbo car that a colder charge won't help, right? Also, in that vein, we've got this COBB charge pipe, pretty similar to the stock one, 50 state legal charge pipe. The stock one is plastic, this one is metal, more durable, and that's really a longevity mod more than anything else. We've then got the COBB access port with the Stage 1 Plus map, 50 state legal tune, fully loaded. Better throttle response, little more power, really no effect on emissions, and legal in every state in the union, including California. Love it. We've then got some fluids from Motul. These are motorsport grade fluids to really get our car ready for high performance driving. We've got 5W40 engine oil. We've got our transmission and differential oil for the manual gearbox and the limited slip diff. And we've got some RBF 600 high temperature brake fluid. Although it's not shown here in our parts, we are replacing the pads and rotors of our 135i with OEM M Sport hardware. This car came with really good brake hardware from the factory. There's no reason to go crazy with an aftermarket big brake kit and spend a bunch of money where you don't really need to. Brand new pads, brand new rotors, and high temp fluid should be great for the canyons, easy for every day, not squeaky or a problem or dusty, and then fine for the occasional track day. So we're gonna leave this stuff and the car with our friends at Avus Autosport in Glendale, California to get the install going, and we'll come back and check in on them in a little bit. In addition to modifying the 135i for performance, my biggest concern is durability and reliability. I want the winner of the giveaway to have a good car, not just a fast car. And that's why we're spending the money at Avus Autosport to have them preemptively address the 100,000-mile service items, as well as repair anything that they might find wrong in the car. Bad wires, leaks, what have you. Avus has been here for over 20 years and specializes in high-performance German cars, especially BMWs. It's where I bring my BMW M3, E46 to get maintained, and they're an authorized dine-in service and repair facility, so I trust that what they find, they'll fix, and they'll fix it right. Our technician Ken started at the back of the car. Installing the COBB sway bar requires unbolting the control arms, dropping the subframe, and even then, Ken had to wriggle the old bar like John McClane on an air vent. Once the new bar was in place, he buttoned up the subframe, and it was time to remove the original shocks and springs. The bump stops looked like they were made of cinnamon, suboptimal. To remove those, Ken removed the strut bolts in the trunk. The new units from ST are slightly shorter overall, so even at their tallest setting, our car will drop about 1 inch. The rear suspension of the 135i uses a trailing arm design, which means the spring and shock are separated. With the rear suspension done, it was time to move to the front. After removing the front coilovers, Ken inspected the front thrust arm bushings, a common fail point on these cars, which can affect responsiveness in the steering, the feel, and the handling. He noticed some small cracking in the bushing, so those got replaced. It was the same story with the end links. Then the new COBB sway bar was bolted in. This is a spring compressor. Notice it is not made up of hose clamps. This one is for pros, but you can buy or rent simpler versions from almost any auto parts store, which is a better idea than having a spring pop free and destroy your hand. Ken carefully installed each coilover, and the new setup looked amazing. Although COBB sent us a CSF intercooler, we left it off on account of the amount of cutting that would have to be done to the inside of the bumper to make it fit. But Ken made sure to thoroughly clean out the stock intercooler and all the fittings before installing our COBB pipe and silicone hoses. With the mods done, it was time to focus on maintenance. The water pump is another common failure point on this car, but fortunately, this one had already been replaced. Next up were the fluids. The oil and transmission fluid drain easily, but the differential on the 135i doesn't have a drain plug, so Ken had to treat it like a dental patient. We replaced the diff and trans fluid with Motul Gear 300 75W90, and then filled the brake reservoir with Motul RBF 660.4 racing fluid, which should be good if one of you guys wants to do a track day. The oil is Motul 300V 5W40, a fully synthetic motorsport oil designed for use in pretty much any racing series on Earth. With the car back on the ground, Ken addressed another issue that plagues almost every car with direct injection: carbon buildup. Before direct injection, fuel was sprayed on the back of the valves, which cleaned them. Now that fuel is injected right into the cylinder, carbon gunk builds up on the intake side of the valve. Yuck. This is much better. Avus also replaced the valve cover gasket and the valve cover with integrated PCV oil separator, plus all the coils. And then, of course, the green air filter. Lastly, Avus aligned and corner balanced the car. Keep in mind, the HRE wheels we got weren't on hand yet, so they had to align the car on the stock wheels and tires. Once we install the HREs, we'll realign the car with those. With all the mechanical work done, Zach drove the car to the body shop.
All right, so we picked up our car from Avus Autosport, where they did some maintenance items and some performance upgrades. But now it is time to make sure that the car looks as good on the outside as it runs. So we are dropping it off at South Bay Certified Collision Repair Center down here in Redondo, Torrance area. BMW certified body shop basically, and they are going to take off the front and rear bumpers and replace the third taillight and respray the bumpers because they have some pits, some chips, and evidence of someone doing an incorrect parking job, shall we say. So they are going to freshen up the paint and make it look nice and spick and span for whoever wins this giveaway car. And if you want to enter to win, click the link down below. It's go.getentertowin.com/TST, and you can buy a coffee mug or send in a free 3x5 card and enter to win this BMW 135i. Now let's give it a spa day. I took the car to South Bay Certified Collision Repair Center, a BMW certified body shop in Torrance, California that also works on a number of other luxury brands. The plan was to respray the bumpers, hood, and rear wing, as well as replace the third brake light, which was crumbling like Parmesan cheese. After just 1 hour, the crack team had the bumpers off and they headed to the primer booth for sanding and prep. Public service announcement: your bumper is not a wear item. Our technician Chris sanded everything down and then filled even the tiniest cracks with putty before hitting it with a few coats of primer, sanding in between, of course. It would take a few days before the primer would dry enough for the paint to go on, so I spent a little bit of time getting mesmerized by paint stirring, and then I left the car in good hands. A week later, Matt went to pick it up and saw it for the first time with the new paint and the new wheels.
Over at the body shop with Tim. Oh yeah, that bumper looks rad. Hell yeah. This thing looks great, dude. Nice job.